I was not planning on recording anything today, but then I drafted one of my favorite best ball teams that I've ever drafted on DraftKings. Wanted to hear if other people agree. I think the early rounds, it's pretty clear that they went well for me just with the way things felt to me. But I want to hear if you think that I landed the plane. Did I drop the baby? How did I end up doing in this draft? I thought I did okay, but I want to hear some feedback here. And by the way, if you want to have your own drafts graded, you can join the Flaniverse Discord for free. There is a grade my draft section in the Flaniverse Discord. So that is, there's a link in the description of this video if you want to join. And while you're at it, please do like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. All right. So without further ado, let's talk about the team. So we are in the 6 hole here, which is a spot that I like because I kind of think there is a clear tier after the top 6. I got CeeDee Lamb, the final player in this tier, so he was the only remaining player. Pretty happy to get CeeDee Lamb at the 1.06. Would not surprise anybody if he's the highest scoring flex player in fantasy this year. So I was happy to get CeeDee Lamb. The second round, though, is where it really starts to go well for me. Brock Bowers is a player that I absolutely love this year in best ball, and particularly on DraftKings. I often will move Brock Bowers and take him at the 1-2 turn. Mike Clay projects him for 108 receptions this year at the tight end position. On a PPR site, you can just really separate if he does have that number of receptions. And of course, he can score some touchdowns. Better quarterback play this year. Just the sky is the limit for Brock Bowers. So particularly on DraftKings, where it is full PPR, absolutely love Brock Bowers this year. Was really ecstatic to get him at pick 19. Comes back to round 2, and this is where the first real decision that I had to make. I thought the first two were pretty obvious. Pick 30 was between Terry McLaurin, JSN. There are a lot of players. Davante Adams, a lot of players that I really liked here at pick 30. Ultimately, I went with Terry McLaurin for that week 17 correlation with CeeDee Lamb. That was kind of a tiebreaker for me. And it was a tough decision. Honestly, I used the full 30 seconds there trying to decide who to take. Fourth round, it was again a tough decision for me because there were 2 players that I really liked here. And Davante Adams, again, I thought about taking him at pick 30 in the 3rd round. Somehow he's still there for me at pick 43, 10 picks past ADP. But also Jayden Daniels at this point is already 5 picks past ADP, and I have Terry McLaurin. So I've got the stack already built in. So it was a really tough decision for me here. And this is where I decided to turn to the sidekick. The Legendary Upside Sidekick. It's a real-time assistance tool. If you're not familiar, you can check it out at legendaryupside.com. I don't have a promo code or anything. I'm not trying to sell it to you, but it is a cool tool. And I used it for this pick because it was a tough decision. I didn't know what is more valuable to me, the stack between Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin, or is it the real ADP falling for Davante Adams? Part of the tiebreaker for me also was that Jalen Hurts was still available there. So I kind of thought, all right, so if I take Davante Adams here, there are 2 elite quarterbacks who could make it back to me at 54. Now, obviously, I was a lot more excited about getting Jayden Daniels there. He's more of the ADP faller than Hurts. And also, I have him stacked up with Terry McLaurin. So I really, really wanted Jayden Daniels to come back to me at 54. I thought it was kind of a pipe dream, but I had the out of somebody wanting to take Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith instead. That is what happened here from the 3 hole. So really excited to get Jayden Daniels at pick 54. I don't think I need to explain that one. I think it's pretty obvious. I got the stack. I complete the game stack with the Commanders and Cowboys playing in week 17, kind of hoping for that game to pop off and really put up a big score if this team makes the finals. So pretty ecstatic with the top 5. Now, this is where I think it's kind of indisputable, in my opinion, that the top 5 picks went really well for me. Just a really nice combo. They're correlated well. Everything looks great with the top 5 picks. From there, I just really did not want to drop the baby. I wanted to make a nice team. Needed to make up some ground, obviously, at running back at that point. Really strong at the onesie positions already with Jayden Daniels and Brock Bowers. So this is where it was kind of going to become a question for me. Can I land this plane with a really nice team? And I think I did okay here, but I want to get your opinions on it. So in the 6th round, TreVeyon Henderson is the running back that I went with. I was hoping that one of these 3 veterans, Kenneth Walker, James Conner, or Joe Mixon, would come back to me with my first running back pick. Also wouldn't have been upset with RJ Harvey falling, but ultimately, I think it's kind of a coin toss for me. TreVeyon Henderson versus RJ Harvey. I kind of think TreVeyon Henderson, I've heard him described as like Jahmyr Gibbs light, potentially. Like he could be just totally awesome. He's going to come in there. He's, Ramondre Stevenson is established there. But Ramondre Stevenson has had some fumbling issues. TreVeyon Henderson just a really exciting, dynamic back who could just take over that backfield. So I'm excited to get him at pick 67, even if I, maybe would have preferred Kenneth Walker to fall. Some people have let him fall recently because of injury issues, stuff like that. I was still pretty happy to get TreVeyon Henderson at pick 67. And then I think Tony Pollard was kind of the perfect pairing with TreVeyon Henderson. Tony Pollard, they're saying it's going to be, a backfield that's by committee again this year between Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears. They said that last year. Tony Pollard ultimately won out and looked great. And I think this year, Tennessee's offense just going to be better with Cam Ward there. I think Tony Pollard is probably the better back, so more likely to win that role again. And regardless, even in a 50-50 timeshare, Tony Pollard will have his spike weeks. So I like the combo of the veteran Tony Pollard with the rookie TreVeyon Henderson. I think they make a nice pair in there. Love the pick at 91, Jayden Reed. He is the player. As we're getting closer to my pick, I was really hoping that Jayden Reed was going to make it back to me. I like him better as a pick than Matthew Golden. I think he's probably the best receiver on the Packers still, even if he's not running all the routes. He's another dynamic receiver. They use him a lot of different ways. If Jordan Love stays healthy, I think Jayden Reed could be in for a big year. Jordan Mason at pick 102. He's one of my guys this year. Jordan Mason. Now it is DraftKings where PPR points matter a lot, and Jordan Mason doesn't really catch the ball at all. But I still really like him because he has both standalone value and contingent upside if anything were to happen to Aaron Jones. I think Jordan Mason is going to come in and is going to be kind of a split backfield from the beginning. He'll probably get less than 50% of the work, but he's going to get the goal line carry most likely. They've talked about wanting to use Jordan Mason at the goal line. The Vikings really struggled at the goal line last year. Vikings offensive line really improved this year. A lot to love about Jordan Mason. They went out and got him. They traded a strong draft pick for Jordan Mason. So I really think they plan to use him. He was also among the league leaders last year in explosive run rate, in missed tackles forced per touch, just had a really strong year when healthy last year. And I think he could just be awesome on this Vikings team. So excited to get Jordan Mason at pick 102. And then I just continue building out the running back room with Cam Skattebo at pick 115. Again, another rookie running back, but a rookie running back who I think is going to have a role right away on his team. Would not be shocking to see him outplay Tyrone Tracy and take on the bigger workload there. So pretty happy with these four running backs when I didn't start till round 6 to get TreVeyon Henderson, Tony Pollard, Jordan Mason, and Cam Skattebo. I picked 126. I was deciding between Jordan Love and Luther Burden. Primarily, Luther Burden was the pick that the sidekick liked at the top there. I ended up going with Jordan Love just because people are so thirsty for their quarterbacks on DraftKings. I already have Jayden Reed there. I thought I just wanted to shore up my quarterback room with Jordan Love. I also thought there was a decent possibility that Luther Burden would make it back to me at pick 139. Just the way draft's been going for me on DraftKings recently, I've seen Luther Burden fall quite a bit. He's been dealing with injury. People are scared of that injury, so can often get Luther Burden to fall, whereas I didn't really think there was much chance Jordan Love was going to make it back to me. And I also thought that Tucker Kraft was fairly likely to make it back to me, and he also did not. So didn't love the way things went after I took Jordan Love, but still didn't really regret the pick because I've got them all stacked up. And then Bayshul Tuten was there at pick 139. So just another running back. We've talked about all these running backs who kind of uncertain what the situation is going to be there, but I think the upside is there for Bayshul Tuten to just show out and be the best running back in the room. So, taking some dart throws, I feel good about the Bayshul Tuten pick. And then Austin Ekeler, one of my favorite picks on the board in DraftKings overall. I just think that he has a really pretty strong role in Washington. He is the pass catching back, and then he has opportunity for more. So he's another player that has some standalone value because of that pass catching role on the Commanders. But then he also has awesome contingent upside. If anything were to happen to Brian Robinson, I think he's capable of taking on a bigger role. So really happy to get Austin Ekeler at pick 150. 163, Romeo Doubs, just a player that I really like in this range, but also when I have Jordan Love, just made a ton of sense for me to add on to my stack there. So now I've got a double stacked Packers team. I had kind of a need at this point. I've kind of gone away from receiver since Jayden Reed was my fourth receiver, waited all the way to pick 163 to take my fifth receiver. So happy to get a veteran receiver who has a pretty strong role there on the Packers. And then Josh Palmer at 174. Again, wasn't great last year, but had a lot of unrealized air yards, it seemed there, and also just a ton of pass interference calls. There were some games where he could have had some big games that didn't work out. And I think going to Josh Allen in Buffalo, where the wide receiver pecking order. I think there's an opening there for Josh Palmer to step in and take on a big role on a really strong offense. So happy to get Josh Palmer at 174. At 187, I was really torn here. I used up the full clock trying to decide between Jaylen Noel and Keenan Allen. Jaylen Noel, of course, the rookie with kind of an unsure role, was not the top rookie receiver taken on his team, but Keenan Allen not even on a team yet. Ultimately, I have a lot of veteran receivers on this team already, and I didn't want to drop the baby again. So that was my biggest concern. Keenan Allen could be a zero. He might not sign anywhere this year, and that would have just bothered me all year. So ultimately, I thought I'm going to go for the upside rookie who might come on later and not be on a lot of teams in the playoffs right when he's coming on again what could be a strong Houston offense. So I went with Jaylen Noel, and then the real tiebreaker there for me was Jaylen Noel's ADP just a little bit higher than Keenan Allen, so I thought it was maybe a little bit more likely that Keenan Allen would make it back to me at pick 198. Obviously, that did not happen. Keenan Allen went with the very next pick, but it was a toss-up for me. Still happy to get Jaylen Noel. With my next pick, I wanted to take my second tight end. I wanted it to be Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz, of course, went a few picks before me, so I settled for Theo Johnson, and I'm happy with that. I'm not upset to get Theo Johnson here in the 17th round. I think he could have a big role, could take a big step forward as a sophomore there in New York. So happy to. Is he sophomore or is he a junior now? Damn, now I'm forgetting. All right, but I'm happy to get Theo Johnson either way. I think there is a potential role there for him. In the 18th round, Tahj Brooks. So it was a couple of running backs I probably would have taken ahead of Tahj Brooks if they had made it back to me. Dylan Sampson, a guy that I'm kind of targeting right now after talking with Ben Gretch about him. I think Dylan Sampson, the competition is there and it's pretty open in Cleveland. I think, Quinton Judkins taken ahead of him. I think it's, reasonable to assume that Judkins is going to be the guy to start the year. But really, Dylan Sampson was, I believe, a 4th round draft pick on the Browns. So they did spend some draft capital on him, and also a really talented guy. It wouldn't be that surprising to just see him outperform Quinton Judkins. This is the case that was made to me and that I'm buying into. Jerome Ford, hasn't been especially efficient. So I think there's a possibility for Dylan Sampson to just be the best running back there, take on the biggest role. And then, of course, there's always the, injury contingent upside as well. So he's a guy I've been trying to get. He did not make it back to me. And then DJ Giddens, just probably the RB2 there in Indianapolis, also did not make it back to me. But I'm not upset. Tahj Brooks to me is kind of in that same, he clearly is in the same tier as those two. Probably not a lot of standalone value for Tahj Brooks. Not going to really take any role from Chase Brown, but I think he has awesome contingent upside if anything were to happen to Chase Brown. Pick 122. I think Jaxon Dart as a third quarterback just made a ton of sense for this team with Theo Johnson on the team along with Cam Skattebo. So I'm just another double stack there with Jaxon Dart. Happy to add him on late. Probably not going to start the year as the Giants quarterback, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Jaxon Dart end the year as the Giants quarterback. And I have some friends who think he's a really talented player. Derek Brown loves Jaxon Dart as a prospect. He could come in and have an awesome season this year. So happy to get him in the 19th round. And then finally, Harold Fannin in the 20th round. Just a tight end with immense upside. Exciting player to get in the 20th round. Now, David Njoku is there. Who knows what the role will be? But who says they can't use both? We could see both Harold Fannin and David Njoku have pretty strong years this year. So happy to get Harold Fannin in the 20th. And then, of course, there's awesome contingent upside there as well. So in the end, I was very happy with the way this team went. I'll read it off one more time. It's a 3-7-7-3. Started with CeeDee Lamb, Brock Bowers, Terry McLaurin, Davante Adams, Jayden Daniels, TreVeyon Henderson, Tony Pollard, Jayden Reed, Jordan Mason, Cam Skattebo, Jordan Love, Bayshul Tuten, Austin Ekeler, Romeo Doubs, Josh Palmer, Jaylen Noel, Theo Johnson, Tahj Brooks, Jaxon Dart, and Harold Fannin. I'm happy with the team. Let me know in the comments what you think. And then, of course, please do remember to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you haven't already done so, join the Flannelverse Discord if you want to have your own drafts graded. All right. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.